Good day, everyone. Welcome to Deku Universe. Today we are beginning part 14 of What If. Harem Deku watches Multiverse. The fanfiction is created by GiovanniPolder on Wattpad. Now let's begin. Izuku sat down, still holding the three girls, but as he saw down they did sit. Down on his lap, and kept on his back. Izuku whispered to Nana as Truth went back to looking. Nana, are you doing okay? She forced a fake smile. Yeah, why are you asking? You know, why you don't have to act strong. It is okay to be sad or even be angry, but know this, I will bring him back. I will get him out of the darkness. It might not become a good sight, but I will bring him back, he said as she messed with his hair. Thank you, Izuku. We have to find a way for you to really bring him back. I doubt he'll want to come back. Namiri said, yeah, especially that he won't like you at all. First, he already hates you. And now you're banging his grandma. Mina said with some of the girls chuckling, even Nana. Not yet, but let's see what happens, Nana said with a wink and a chuckle. She was glad so far that she was in this weird relationship. Well, maybe your father taught him to respect his parents, so you're being his new granddad might give you some points. Setsuna joked. You guys are making it sound weird. No, Izuku, it is weird. God brought her back from the dead, and she then joined your HRM. Not only is she the 7th user of OFA, but her grandson also has a massive hatener for you. There is no way to make that sound not weird, Kyoka said. You're right. Izuku, I was wondering, you know most of our Why don't we know yours? How about you tell us one, huh? What? Yeah, and give us a fun one. Not your obvious hero or quirk dash, something else. Kinoko said, I don't have any. Please, Izuku. Nijire said with puppy eyes. Fine, I guess I like watching girls kiss each other. Izuku said really fast, with the girls that understood it blushing. So this, Yui said as she started kissing Nijire only for Izuku's mouth to fall open in shock. He then felt a tap on his shoulder to see Namiri and Emi also kiss each other. What the are they doing? Siro asked, super confused why some of the girls started making out with each other. Oh, that they found out about one of Izuku's liking, so they're kind of testing if it was true. Truth said, not caring a little. Lucky BSDRD, Kaminari said. Very jealous of Izuku. Now, if you all can take a minute to stop blue-balling Izuku, I found what we can watch. Fine, but only for now, Namiri said as she stopped kissing Emi. You're a good kisser, Emi. You're not bad yourself, but what we watching, Truth? Oh, we're going to watch part 2 of Swordsman. I feel some of you will enjoy that very much. Oh, hell yes, we finally get to watch how that we're finished up. Oh, I bet he will rally us to join him and we fight the army together as heroes. Kaminari said, well, let's find out, shall we? Truth said with a snap. Izuku stood in front of Achiko with only Wado in his hand, Shigaraki clutching his new stump with his metal arm. He was using one of his quirks to try and close the wound, but his regeneration quirk was very weak. AFO had given Shigaraki multiple defensive quirks SCK, as thick skin, quirks that give him better reaction time, stronger bones and muscles, but Izuku cut right through it far faster than he should have been able to. So how strong was his body with Midoriya being able to cut through? Kamakiri asked. He himself used Swords of Sword. He really wasn't able to bring it out to the maximum, as he would most likely kill them, but he was able to easily slice through wood and some stones. Oshigi could break concrete with his hands, now Oswell as easily dent metal, and Izuku was able to cut through without a problem. Damn it, Melissa said. What a truly foolish boy you are. You not only believe you can face against me, but you dare lay a hand on my successor. But I had expected one of these days you would show up, AFO said as he snapped his fingers, and a middle-aged man in an old-time samurai armor with a katana on his hip. I heard you made somewhat of a name for yourself as a swordsman, so I asked around and found this man. He goes by Kenshi of the Red Blade, and he jumped at the chance of killing, in his words, a fake swordsman, AFO said with a light chuckle. Izuku just looked annoyed. Oh, a new bad guy shows up, and it's a swordsman that is going to be badass. I can sense a 6-sword fight showing up. Nah, dude, Izuku is out that dude's league, Kami said toward Ojura. Baby will for sure kick that old dude's, but he is for sure the strongest there. Mina said, Achiko, try and get as many heroes together and back OU. I'm going to kill AFO and anyone who gets in my way. But if I do that, I don't want to play babysitter OU the injured, Izuku said for the heroes that were still conscious. It sounded like a massive insult toward the heroes, but Achiko knew it was just a fact. She nodded and started moving everyone backward a bit while Izuku stood ready to face all the villains. Demon, I feel so bad about hearing that, but even now it's so true. There is no way I could ever help fight someone with his amount of strength and live to see the day without getting my butt saved. Zero said, don't worry too much about it, Zero. There are very few heroes that could stand next to All Might and not die. But then again, even the weakest people can win against the strongest person if a group teams up. Izuku said, yeah, if we just stick together, we can fight even the strongest of opponents because that is manly. Kirishima said AF, but didn't like that, so ordered one of his minions to fire a palm arrow at Achiko. He aimed his palm and shot out a large bone arrow at Achiko at the speed of a bullet. Achiko fell back scared, thinking she would die, but Izuku just sliced the arrow horizontal as it came closer. Your fight will be against me, so be patient or I will kill you painfully, Izuku said, scaring the bone arrow user. Oh wow, he can react that fast. I barely saw it. Shinso said, if you want to join the hero course, we will have to work on that reaction time. Aizawa said with Shinso nodding. It did make it clear to Aizawa that the fact he didn't want to babysit them was a fact. Aizawa could have most likely dodged the attack, but to be able to cut that arrow in two was incredible. Kenshi shot forward with a spin, trying to kill Izuku in one hit, but Izuku blocked it with Wado not even really paying attention. You don't think such a weak sneak attack could catch me, OU guard? Izuku said, looking at him with a scared eye. Kenshi felt fear and jumped back in fear, holding his guard up. Am I the only one that thinks that is super hot? Izuku scaring someone with just a look, Pixie Bob said as she licked her lips. Oh, that was all right. Rumi said, smiling while looking at Izuku, slightly biting her lips. Midoriya blocked that strike like it was nothing. How does he think Izuku is a fake swordman? Present Mike asked with truth, laughing. It's a pretty funny story, actually. So basically, Izuku is so strong that when his stories get shared, people believe it was lies and over-exaggerated. So people that saw him in action know his strength, but those who haven't seen him think he is a fake that uses rumors to holster more fame. True said with him, laughing. Here was someone overpowered enough that his stories sounded fake. I believe I might have underestimated you, little boy, but you still stand no chance against me. I shall cut you down and take your fame onto myself, Kenshi said, sounding more to convince himself as he dashed forward, his katana close to his chest. He stabbed forward, aiming to pierce Izuku's chest. Izuku, however, slightly turned his chest and deflected with Wado. He then shoulder pushed Kenshi, who tripped and fell to the floor. Izuku just pointed Wado at his neck. You have lost, take it with honor. That was a cool move. Yeah, that was sick. He just turned, and that was it. And look, he could kill him, but he doesn't do it because he isn't worth it, Away said as he clenched his fist with excitement. Why does he still think he could win, as none of the attacks worked? So what is he thinking? It is the fact for most common thugs do it. They believe far more in their own skills and don't think they could lose against anyone. It's rather stupid of them, but makes defeating them far easier. All Might, said Kenshi, smacked Wado with his bare hand to get it away, and started to crawl away. Izuku had only moved 1 foot to shoulder bump. Kenshi stayed against in the same spot. That was nothing but luck. I only slipped. Your filthy tricks won't work again. As he got a little away, he placed his foot forward, gripped his sword with both hands above his head. Special technique, red flash, death dance. Kenshi flew forward faster than he did so before, hoping to catch Izuku off guard with his most well-trained technique. But Izuku stabbed Wado forward and pierced Kenshi's wrist perfectly. Kenshi's wrists were now stuck in place. LOL, I slipped. Really, what a SHD excuse. Bakugo laughed. Then Midoriya didn't even take a full step and is still fully kicking his butt. Natsu said with a laugh, "How strong is this Kenshi? I mean, him against Izuku is kind of making him look weak. Oh well, he could place in the top 15 heroes. He is a pretty strong guy. DMN. What the hell? He is looking like a total chump." What the dash was the collect thought when Izuku made a kebab from Kenshi's arm. "Now, father, tell me mother's location or I will kill you." "Oh my. Dear son, do you really believe you could face OU against me?" Izuku pulled Wado out making. Kenshi dropped to the floor, crying as he tried to stop the bleeding and the pain. Izuku placed Wado in his mouth and grabbed Shusui and Kitetsu. "The person that kills him will gain a new powerful quirk," AFO said with his minions loving more power. A squad of long-range quirk users all aimed their quirks at them. "Oh, please let Izuku find cover. I don't want him to get shot." "He can't, though. He is still protecting the injured heroes. That is most likely the reason he didn't move," Ryuko said as they saw Izuku still protecting the heroes. "So he is still holding back. How the heck is he that strong without a quirk?" Inko said, kind of scared. "The quirks Geoward." One had a quirk that allowed them to fire hair needles. One was able to shoot her nails, fingertips, dash teeth bullets. They had eaten beforehand. They let loose on Izuku, and of course, the heroes behind him were in danger as well, so Izuku wasn't able to dodge. "I don't know how I would react to flying at me. I didn't know if I should be scared or creeped out." "How about aroused?" "Aren't bad, dude, are not my thing," Sato told Kaminari, who nodded. "Understandable." So he calmed himself and used his skill in the sword to block or deflect each attack with skill and grace. But just before they shot out their quirks, the heroes behind him were talking. "We need to join in. We can't let him die," Aizawa said, trying to ignore his broken arm and his bleeding head. We need to let him do this alone." "Are you insane, Namiri? He is nothing but a child. There is a reason he wasn't in UA. He's going to die that way. We have to help," Aizawa said, getting up, but Namiri, even though her shin was either broken or cracked, pulled him down. "If you really want to help, make sure we are all not at the battlefield. He can't move freely cause he has to protect us. I believe I can help with that," Ibera said as she got up from his prone position. "Hell yeah. You tell him, Nim." Grumpy old man. Present Mike cheered as Aizawa just looked at him. "We're the same age," said confused. "Is Midoriya dating anyone?" Ojiro asked. "No, but he got options. He doesn't want to date anyone as he wants to become the strongest and then be seen as a real person. But Achiko, Mina, and Namiri are all open to dating him," Truth said with the three ladies. Smiling, she wasn't hiding. She had been stabbed in the stomach and was bandaged up. "Same. My leg might be gone for now, but my arms still work a little," Setsuna said as it showed her missing a leg, which wasn't all that bad. First OU she would regrow it, but it still felt like a leg missing, which hurt. With that, Setsuna, Ibera, and Achiko, who was not about to fail the task. Izuku asked of her to bring all heroes to safety. Izuku, however, was just blocking the barrage of projectiles. "Let's go, girls. Let's get those bums out of the field," Setsuna said as she wrapped both her arms around Achiko and Ibera. The thing was that Achiko didn't sit anywhere close to Ibera or Setsuna. Ibera herself wasn't sitting next to Setsuna, so it looked weird. "You should talk about our classmates like that, because we are among them," Kendo said with Setsuna scowling. Still can't go over the fact that Izuku is just blocking things like bullets like that. Toru said, "Truly magnifique. It took 3 minutes, and because of the pure number of projectiles, a couple made it through his sword blocking and hit him. He had 2 teeth stuck in his left leg, a fingertip in his right leg, a number of hairs in his arm, and that was it. But then he heard what he was waiting on. Izuku, your back is cleared. We have moved back to UA itself. Please be safe and come back to us, okay?" Izuku didn't respond, but he did smirk and did a cross slice with his swords, which resulted in air slashes that took out half of the long-range squad before they had time to readjust, though Izuku was on them and slashed them down. not killing them. Yeah, let's get this slaughter on its way, Rumi said, stepping on her footstool, breaking it completely. Truth just snapped his fingers, repairing it. How is he not killing him, though? That attack was nasty. Looking, yeah, again, it's just skill. He could kill them with one hit, but his attacks barely break the skin as to not kill them. He could cut them in half, as if cutting warm butter with a 1,000-degree knife. Truth said, kill him now, FO said, losing his temperature. But with that command, the large force jumped into action. Izuku saw that a good portion was right in front of him in a straight line, Tatsumaki. Izuku spins with his swords to create a dragon-like tornado that both slashes and blows away the targets. This attack was strong enough to not only destroy well over 40% of the enemy force, but much like the name Dragon Twister, in the ground were carvings that looked much like dragon scales, making it look like a large dragon just rushed through. That is no quirkless attack, Kaminari said, believing it to be a matter of fact. Nope, still quirkless, that is. Just his fighting spirit taking form. Oh my god, that is so manly, Kirishima screamed with Tetsu agreeing with him. Oh, that isn't a man, that is basically a god. You said you're fun, but enough playing, let's see you bleed. A large man Izuku knew as muscular, a crazed villain, obsessed with strength and doing whatever he wanted. He was wanted for murder and many more crimes. His muscles grew over his skin as he jumped for Izuku, who sliced him right down the middle from top to bottom, killing him instantly. Oh my god, please kick his butt completely. He really deserved a good butt kicking. Tiger said more to himself, as he really didn't like him. Oh, that is nasty, but he did totally deserve that, Toya said with a chuckle. When he was the leader to attack their summer camp, he really hated that dude. He went on and on about wanting to see their BLD and wanted to go on a rampage. It was a true pain in his butt. This shocked many of the remaining villains, as they had no idea they could get killed, they believed. Though in fighting against heroes, they would never kill someone. Killed him. He is a hero, right? Wrong. I'm not a hero. I am at the moment a very pissed to you son that will do whatever is needed for saving his mother. And you are in my way. So run away and live or fight to die. Izuku said as for them, he wasn't a man. He was the god of death. Now that is a cool line. But again, murder is murder, and that isn't heroic. No, it's not, but again, he is protecting himself against a quirked user who has been known as a killer, and it fits perfectly as self-defense. Nizu said with a giggle as he laughed at the fact it was such a clear gap in how quirkless people could use weapons and such, but then again, it was never been seen for someone to be able to do that sort of SHD. Around 10% ran away, which was great. It just meant Izuku would have to fight fewer people. He wasn't really that big on killing people, but he had no problem putting down crazed animals. A new group of villains, however, did decide to fight him, which Izuku remembered as the 8 bullets and overhaul. Izuku jumped forward and slashed. This caused the arms and legs to fly the 8 bullets without even a second for them to react. Another set of people I would have no problem burning to ash, Toya said as his hand flickered a little. Oh, yeah, those are some people that deserve to be put down, and those that hurt children are the ones at the top of the carving list, Stain said as he clenched his teeth, angry that he didn't get the chance to kill Overhaul himself. Overhaul wanted to use his fallen comrades to use, but Izuku saw it beforehand and stabbed Shusui in Overhaul's throat as he looked him right in the eyes. Izuku saw the light in Overhaul's eyes slowly fade to black as Izuku pulled Shusui back. Overhaul fell to the ground, slowly bleeding to death. As a last resort, he wanted to use his quirk, but as Izuku has stabbed him in the throat, he didn't notice that Izuku also sliced of his half his fingers, making his quirk void. While I would never condone violence, good job Izuku, anyone that dare to hurt my snowball is dead. They just don't know it yet, Inko said as the gods of death and destruction started praying for anyone stupid enough to ever hurt Eri or Izuku, or anything Inko. cared for this went for a while, with Izuku killing only the ones that he knew were the lowest of the lowest. It took him maybe 15 minutes before everyone except AFO was on the floor bleeding, while Izuku stood, his chest out and the open BLD on his chest, yet none of it was from him. Now, tell me before I have to hurt you. You might have taken out these lowly minions of mine, but don't think you could even fight against me, you insolent brat. I will show you the power of your father, the greatest villain alive, he said with Izuku all of a sudden at the back of AFO, with AFO turning around, which caused his left arm to entirely fall. Oh, I will enjoy watching this, Nana said. While I understand your feelings, blaming me for your grandson is just lying to yourself of who to blame. You could blame yourself for turning your son into someone that hated heroes. You could hate your son for turning your grandson into what he is, blame the doctor for messing with his head, maybe even blame All Might for being the symbol of peace, AFO said. He really didn't care that he was hated by Nana, it was to be expected, but at least if he was being hated, wanted to be hated for the correct reasons. It however grew back right away. I see I can really let loose against you. How about this, for everyone 5 seconds that you're not telling me where my mother is, I will remove one of your limbs. He then started to count. Each time he kept his distance and deflected or dodged each attack AFO send while counting down from 5. Then he attacked and removed either an arm or a leg. This went on for 7 minutes, which meant he lost 84 of his limbs. At 85, he finally gave him his suit, already nothing but scarps of cloth, as he was on the floor panting like a dog in pain. Fine, you win. She's at fake street name 23A. She is under guard of 2 of my minions. Izuku then stepped on his father's neck. If she is harmed, I will return and do this again only tenfold. He then glared back at Yue, seeing Achiko, Namiri, and Mina standing at the window, looking or sitting because they were injured. Izuku gave a nod showing he won, but also that he wasn't done yet. They nodded and Izuku dashed forward, going to get his mother and bring her to Yue while he left the heroes to deal with the aftermath. Oh my, that is rather gruesome. I love it. It's like a sick and awesome action slash horror movie. I would just not want to see that in real life. He really just went bad SHD crazy and removed 85 arms. That is really like disarming around 42 people. Pun intended. Mirio said as Sir. Night Eye chuckled at the pun. Achiko turned with the other 2 and saw they weren't the only ones looking at him. Eri looked wide-eyed, super shocked that that man was able to kill. Overhaul, she was scared as when she was saved they didn't fight, or not really, they just grabbed her and ran, but now he was dead. Who was that? She asked as she stood next to her newest and only friend, Koda, who wanted to know the same thing. Don't worry, that really wasn't the worst thing Eri has seen. He was a little more gruesome against his minions in this one, as AFO took over a lot more of the underworld, and he wasn't defeated by All Might, so it was hard for him to be seen as a real leader, so he took that out on his minions more often than not, and Eri saw all of that. Izuku felt sick as he thought of that, but thankfully Overhaul wasn't a problem. However, I know the war wasn't secret, but there was no date. So how did he know? Because I told him. I thought we could have used the help, however I didn't know about his mother. Namiri said, why would you tell him? All Might said, fully bandaged, sitting in a wheelchair, because he is stronger than everyone. I was not going to let your pride get me or them killed. I know I can't fight strong people, but he can, so I asked for his help. Namiri screamed at them as the screen went a black. Okay, so Izuku is by far the strongest in that world. Not only did he nearly kill AFO and got him begging for mercy, but when All Might be unable to win, let alone get out unhurt, he was able to smack everyone and still walk away. Sato said, I for one am glad that Izuku showed up, didn't want to see myself get dusted. Achiko said, well, what to watch next? I might already have a good idea for that, but I have to double check, so keep busy until then. Truth said as everyone gave a nod and began talking to themselves until Truth found what to watch. I wonder if we're going to get anything out of this. You know, like a cool power boost or something. I got the best thing out of it, so I'm already content, Toru said with the girls agreeing. Yeah, but for all the loners I would like. Something Oswell like I would love a new move, Kaminari said. Well, I might be able to help with that when we get back. I have been taking some notes on everything. And who knows, with AFO, I might be able to do something. You should not do that too much, most people cannot handle more quirks. Giving them one could turn their mind into chaos, of course. There are some cases where it's diurent, and they can gain multiple quirks, but that again is rather rare. But what about Izuku himself? Is him taking quirks dangerous? Oh no, it's not. Unlike me, he has a near unlimited stomach for them. I do have a limit, although it's a rather high one. And even then we do not become mindless puppets. We more so get stood and sick. So, that is a no against us getting a lot of quirks, or even one right, Kirishima asked. Extra quirks. Just get stronger with your power, Bakugo said. That is easy for you to say, Toru said with a Q. Toru, you are still a strong fighter if you learn a real fighting skill. It's hard to fight someone you cannot see. Even more so than the person you can't see is a real fighter fighting someone. Focuses on reaction. You see someone line up for a right hook, you counter for a right hook. Izuku said, but then I have to go naked for that is weird, especially if I hate to grapple with someone. Yeah, about that. Why did you request that? It's a weird request that I would assume. Most support companies would at least give some cover up. No, I said I didn't need anything. And I was invisible. Crack. Excuse me, Izuku said as he broke the pencil he was holding. Oswell, as many teachers were looking at her. What Hagakure did you and your form ask for? Normal clothing? Or did you ask for just gloves and boots? Nizu asked. Clothing, she said, unsure of this whole thing. Oh, Nizu, please tell me. You will fix this because if I do, it's going to be a mess. Oh, how would you do that? Nizu asked. He was going to bring down holy fire down upon the company that decided a barely adult woman should run around but naked without any defenses. Well, they are forcing an unknowing woman to walk around naked without any protection. Letting that get heard by some of the pro heroes in school should be enough to bankrupt them. And if that isn't enough, you could always ask your two appealing girlfriends to create and improve on all their gadgets and put them on the market for free. Or your father could overhear something and take action himself. AFO added. But what is wrong if I am not naked? I'm going to be seen and be useless. No, Toru. Think of Mirio, you, Ryuko. Each of them has an outfit that needs to work with their body. Mirio would just be naked and visible each time he tries fighting. Same for Ryuko and you, as they would rip their clothing each time. Yours would just be the reason that you wouldn't have to walk around naked. I do wonder why the hell they thought you walking naked would be a smart idea. Was it laziness, incompetence, or just perviness? Well, before you all plan on destroying their world, how about we just watch part 2 of Naruto Izuku? Wait, that was the one where he threw that massive blue ball that whistled, right? Jup, that is the case. Now you all ready? And about the power boost, I might give you all something at the end, I might not. I mean, don't think a lot of villains are going to survive fighting against Izuku with AFO and OFA. Should that now be all for all or one for one? Well, who cares? Let's get to watching, Truth said with a snap of his fingers. Should they all get a power boost? Or a wish? If so, what would it be? Like if So Ray would get to wish she would be younger, or maybe they wish for a boost in their power. Denki going from his skill to rakeage or something. We see Izuku walking in UA with his uniform on, both his hands behind his back as he was walking while whistling. He was trying to find one. He didn't know where it was. Normally he would have used his skill in sensory, but he didn't know who was in what class. His god DMN fake friends didn't tell him which class they were in. So while Setsuna and Bakugo were already in a classroom, was lost. Is he mad at them? Or Kendo asked. No, he isn't. He just finds it weird that they didn't tell him. But wait, he could if he knew someone locates them without a problem. So he has chakra within himself that he can use, but within everyone else is also a sort of chakra which he can use to sense people with and everyone as their chakra look and stew. So he could look for a group of people when lost, or look for someone he already knows. Yo, excuse me, do you have any idea where Class 1A is? I am lost, believe it. Izuku said with a smirk the one he asked. It was Mirio and Nijire. Oh, you're the new students, right? Mirio said, but Nijire shot forward and started going around him. The believe it again, why did that sound so funny, Ciro? Said with a chuckle. Izuku here was confident and sounded funny. I don't know, I still think it. Sounds cool. Maybe a little weird, but love the confidence. What's your quirk? Has it to do with? Those marks on your face, are you strong? Can you fight? What was your score during the exam? Why did you say believe it? Wow. Nijire, calm down. Don't attack the boy with your word vomit. It's alright. I don't mind it when cute girls ask me questions. My quirk is chakra. I can use it to do all sorts of cool things. These marks are a part of it. I'm super strong. I'm also a decent fighter. And my score was about 380. And I don't know why I say believe it, but believe it, you might have been the first person to be able to answer all of Nijire's questions. But for 1A go. Straight, take the first right, and the second room on your left is 1. Mirio said as he went to drag Nijire, who was blushing away to their class. You talk too fast, Nijire. If you want people to answer you, you should calm down first. I know you, but I get so excited and then I just want to ask everything, and people like Zuzu can hear me just fine, she said as Izuku chuckled at the nickname. Yes, I know that Nijire, but most people can't, and that way you will get no answers. Nijire just stuck her tongue out to you. I mean, what a reason for his believe it. Mirio laughed. Izuku thankfully showed up at the correct class, and he was irritated that he saw the aura of Bakugo and Setsuna, yet they didn't say they were in the same class. He would get payback. He also noticed a stronger person standing around the corner trying to hide. You should hide better, Izuku called out as he entered the room with everyone looking at him as he just shouted. Outside the room. Wait, you were standing there? Izuku asked. He never noticed, but then again. He couldn't see around corners. Yes, but why? Why what Uraraka? Why decide to wait and then crawl over the floor in the yellow sleeping bag? So you expect the unexpected. Yo, Foxy, got lost on the way. Yes, Sparky, this map is complete CRP. Setsuna and Bakugo started laughing while Ida started scolding them for laughing at someone who doesn't know how to read a map. No glasses, don't worry. It isn't that. We are known him, and I might have given him an altered one. That is unacceptable. It's unbecoming of a hero. Student T.O. do that sort of thing, Ida said, but he wasn't able to speak more as the door opened again. Oh, wow. That is perfect. Pony said loving stupid pranks and giving an altered map would be funny. I wonder how he didn't notice it before. He doesn't like someone that would fall for something like that. I'm sure I had him all distracted, Setsuna said as she placed her hand on her hip and flicked her hair back. Shut up and sit down. If you're here to make friends, get out. The tired figure of Aizawa said as he entered the room. My name is Shota Aizawa, and I am your homeroom teacher. Aizawa then proceeded to give some rules and expectations. While he did that, Izuku looked around the classroom, and to his absolute delight and a little surprise, his class was mainly girls. For guys, it was Ida, Kirishima, Todoroki, Izuku, and Bakugo. For girls, it was 1A, 1B, Kami, and Psycho. Izuku might have been surprised, but he loved it, and so did Kurama as he started showing aura without Izuku even noticing. Lucky, I would love a class with all the girls. It's a bit weird though. Normally classes would be a little more spaced out, but this time that doesn't seem like the case. Just girls in his class, which was shot toward Izuku's godfather. He went to UA, and during that time, he was in a class with 3 girls with none of them giving him attention. But Jiraiya always complained about not enough girls being in his class, so Nizu went ahead and gave Izuku his wish. Truth said with Nizu laughing, as that would be something he would do in real life. Everyone else, however, did. They all noticed the overwhelming aura showing up. The air got heavier and they started shaking. Midoriya, stop that. Huh? Reel in that chakra, Foxy. I am so sorry. I didn't notice, Izuku said as he started surpassing Kurama's chakra. I am so sorry, everyone. Guess my quirk got a little excited. Your quirk? What do you mean by that? Midoriya, Aizawa said. Aizawa read everyone's information. If he remembered correctly, Izuku had a quirk that lets him use a special type of energy. Yes, sir, my quirk is chakra, but a part of my chakra is something called a tailed beast. The one you just saw was the strongest Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, and he got a little excited seeing this many appealing women in a room. You have to reel that pervert in. He is just as bad as the perv. Just don't let that happen again, Aizawa said as he kept explaining. It's pretty funny to see that Izuku has two perverts in his life. Yeah, normally he only has one, Ojiro joked as Mineta made a sound through his mouthguard. Wait, how bad is Mineta compared to them? Don't compare the two. Jiraiya, first OU, is awesome. And Mineta is Mineta, Truth said with them nodding shortly after the incident. They were all ordered to change into a UAPE outfit and meet him outside. Everyone was dressed and a little excited as they saw deer and obstacles. Okay, listen up, it's not logical to repeat me. You are going to do these 8 obstacles, but what about orientation, sir? Kendo asked. We here at UA can do things how we want. I don't want to waste time with such things. We have 3 years to make you pro heroes to make sure you don't die. Now during these tests, you will use your quirk to get the best possible result. Oh, we get to use our quirks, awesome, Mina said with Aizawa responding. Awesome, you say. Fine then, the person that places last will be expelled from UA. But that is unfair, sir. It's only the first day. You can expel us. Unfair, you say. You know what is unfair? You dying your first day as a pro. A young family getting stuck in the middle of a villain attack. The world is unfair. It's your job as a hero to fight against the odds and still win. That is the meaning of plus ultra. Wait, you call that SHD logical? Truth said, laughing. Yes, why? Aizawa asked with Truth, just laughing more. Oh, just wait, I just never listened to your first day, just liked watching Izuku throw that ball with only one finger and beat Bakugo by 10 centimeters. Truth said with people laughing at the fact Izuku beat Bakugo with a finger. Oh man, it just gets better. Not only can we get lost without quirks, but it's a competition that will bring out the best in us. This isn't a game, Midoriya. Oh no, sir, it's a tactic. You wouldn't expel us today. Oh really, why is that? Because you're not stupid. There are all types of heroes. Rescue, search, fighting. And you know it. And some of them can't use their quirks in ways to give them a power boost. Take the invisible girl, for example. She's hard to fight if she goes naked and can easily win against almost everyone. But during these tests, she will most likely be one of the lowest scoring ones. And I know for a fact I will rank above last place. Oh, do you now? Well then let's make a deal. If you take anything lower than the 3rd place, you get expelled and no one else. But if not last place gets kicked out, Aizawa said, glaring at Izuku, who just smirked. Oh wow, he destroyed your logical test show. Wait, sir, did you ever expel someone due to that? I did. One didn't take it seriously at all. He didn't care about his classmates' safety, so I expelled him right away. But isn't that like super bad for his future? Not as bad as normal school's expulsions. It was the only reason Aizawa was able to use the expel as a threat, the meaning for a job in the future. Didn't make a diurance. I will do you one better. If I take anything but the 1st place, I will leave myself. But if I take the number 1 spot, you give me a date with Midnight. What, you heard me. So a deal or what? Sure thing, brat. But don't think it will be easy. Izuku just smirked. Then the test took place. Wow, really just bet me like some sort of price. But you're a price. You're the jackpot. Izuku said, making the girls and Namiri to give a kiss to Izuku, who just smiled. Although I don't like the fact I was used in a bet that made it acceptable, but Aizawa, if you would ever try something like that, I would have castrated you completely, Namiri said as she cracked her knuckles. First up, the 50-meter dash. Time to beat so far is Tenya Ida with 3.04 seconds. Next up, Midoriya and Bakugo. Sir, quick question. Can I already use my quirk before the race, or only when you give the mark? You can use your quirk now. Why? Izuku jogged the 50 meters and placed his hand on the ground. With a black mark showing up, he then ran back. I'm ready. Go. In that instant, Izuku in a green flash was at the other side. Bakugo However, it took 4 seconds to show up. Oh, that is so cool, even without being able to plan it in beforehand. There is no way anyone is going to be able to keep up with a throw at 50 meters. Kendo said, "Nah, I could have stood a chance." Well, maybe, but not if he has a strength boost. Ryuko said as she thought of it a little. ITSU. Achiko and Jiro screamed, with Izuku just chuckling. Jup hopes you're doing okay since then. What are you talking about? Mina asked. Oh, this dude saved us from this massive robot. I mean, with all the dust and stew. I didn't realize it was you. Jiro said, "You were crying just like me, Kyo." Achiko said with an elbow push. "Oh, I forgot that was us," Kyoka said. "Wait, are they friends here before you?" Yes, Kyoka and Achiko are friends before UA and this. Oh, that is a strange pairing. The reason they are friends is kind of sad, but they aren't the only ones they are friends with. So Achiko and Kyoka were friends because Achiko was poor and people didn't like that, and Kyoka was flat, so was bullied for that. It was the same for one of their friends called Sakura Haruno. Then there was a girl called Ino Yamanaka who was seen as too rude and mean. Last was a girl called Hinata Hyuga, who was too shy, but as a group they were happy. Will they show up later on? Not at this point. But yet at one point in the story they will show up. Let me guess, Izuku would date them Oswell. Who knows? True said with a laugh. For grip strength, Izuku used chakra-infused strength and maxed out the grip strength machine. What the heck, how are you that strong? I thought your quirk was an emitter type. I can do all types of things, babe, he said to Cammy with a wink. What's with all the flirting? Don't you got a thing for midnight? Cammy asked with Setsuna, chuckling. Yes, sorta OU, but I can't stay with one woman. Too much energy. So you were telling us you need a HRM and expect us to believe it. Now you can believe what you want, but it's a fact, Izuku said as he went to sit down waiting for the others to complete their test. Oh, Setsuna already knows. Yeah, of course she knows. They're dating. What? Why isn't that said at all? And why is he still flirting? Bubble Girl asked. Because he has to get multiple girls. They have done it before, and at the end, Setsuna was unable to move her legs for a day and had trouble for 3 extra days. But even then, Izuku wasn't worn out at that time. Oh, but Izuku can wear me out whenever he wants to, Mina said with a laugh. Next was the standing long jump. Izuku just crouched down and with a boost of chakra easily clear the sandbox. He of course could have done more, but that wasn't counted. You could either land in the box and have your distance measured or clear the sandbox, so he kept it mild. Jumps 4 meters easily and calls it mild. That is some dope stew, Zero said as he shook his head. He used his tape to basically jump forward and just got out of the sandbox, but here Izuku just jumps and clears it. I mean, if we talk about the test, I want to see Izuku with 100% do the test. I wonder how insane the score would be. Yui said as she licked her lips at the thought of that sight for the repeated side steps. Izuku used the body flicker jutsu, which was a very simple and low chakra jutsu. He again destroyed everyone in the competition, with the only one being semi-close would have been Bakugo, who used explosions to move from side to side faster. Nobody else has a great quirk for it. It just looks like he has made clones or something. It's a cool sight, but isn't that draining his chakra? Oh hell no, he has an absolutely bullshit amount. It's almost as if the god of that universe didn't want to deal with him getting a medium score and boosted his SHD to a 1,000. Truth said with a laugh. Then was the ball throw, and Izuku was not going to take the top score on this one. Demon, not only are you super cute, but also got a crazy cool quirk, Izuku said to Achiko, who eeped and blushed. She got out a thank you, and then went to hide by Jiro, who was laughing at her friend. You Foxy, try and focus, don't want to give you an excuse when I beat you. Oh, well shut it, Sparky. To beat your score, I won't need to pay attention. Your score during that exam was completely insane. Achiko just giggled. She found it fun as she never really stood out that much, but there she was getting a score that nobody was able to beat, and she was happy with that. I wonder if anyone could tie that. Well, Izuku might with OFA at 100%, but I'm not sure for the rest. I don't think any of us is getting close, Kendo said, but Kugo went up. Next, he had his hands sparking to the circle. When he got there, he had a small puddle of sweat in his palm. Now get ready to cry as I blow all your shitty scores out of the water. He reeled back, now died. He screamed as he threw the ball Oswell, as let out a massive explosion that nearly ruptured their eardrums. 14-10 for meters. Oh man, that's manly, Kirishima called out. He cleared my score by 200 meters. How impressive. The foul language I could go without. Momo said, a little appalled by him being rude. Why you doubled your score? Dim in, just because. You have a real rival, you doubled your score. You must feel stupid now, Toya said as he laughed. At Bakugo, do you mean, well, not only did you lose your best friend, but you also clearly gave up on a massive power boost. I am pretty sure against that explosion boy we would have not been able to grab you at your camp. What do you mean with losing his best friend? They are still friends, right? Oh, sure, they call themselves friends, but there is no way they will be good friends. Midoriya would not be able to trust him. Midoriya, your turn now. Sure thing. Let's get this done. Izuku's eyes started rippling Oswell as turning purple. As he stood in the circle, he cocked his arm back and threw them at the last moment. He called out his move. Almighty push. With that came a massive shock wave that turned the flat ground into nothing but crater. Oswell is pushed back. Everyone that watched a couple of feet back. Sorry about that. I guess I should have held back a little more. You were holding back. Unacceptable. Do it again. And no. Holding back. Aizawa said, pissed of that. Izuku still took it as a joke. Izuku just rubbed his head. I can't. If I would not hold back, I would destroy UA completely. Almighty push is kind of like a super move of sorts. I got some techniques like that. Like what? Say one that you can't use. Because it would bring too much destruction. Aizawa thought he was just blowing smoke. Well, I guess Tengai Shinsei will be a little much. It kind of brings down a meteor from space. Wait, that was you. What? Ida asked Yaoyorozu. Oh hell, what can't he do? At the moment, he cannot fly or overpower All Might. So he isn't stronger than All Might. I never said he could not beat him. He just couldn't beat him in terms of strength at the moment. Let me guess he's going to be able to kick his, but in terms of strength, Oswell. Truth just smiled, showing his teeth in a very creepy way. Around 1 year ago, there was a small island in the region of South America that was taken over by villains. All of them were put on the kill list as they had executed all the people on that island. The matter was resolved when a meteor from the sky leveled the entire island. Yeah, my godfather was asked to help when I was traveling with him, and he told me to do it. But I can do more. Aizawa just crouched down and groaned as he started texting Mizu. What the hell did you do to me? Why the hell do I get the kid that can? Level A. Island. Why do you hate me? Nizu just cackled as he drank tea. Nizu himself was laughing. Oswell, as that was again something he would do. It was along one of his favorite things to do with his employees. What could be more fun than messing with tired teachers that had to deal with overexcited kids each day? Nothing was more fun in Nizu's eyes. What did he score? You didn't beat me with that lowly SH 1,500 meters dashed up. Bakugo yelled as he stomped on the floor. I will get you next time, you foxy face. Sure thing, Sparky, but you don't have SHD on me. Just shut up. Next event, Aizawa said as he began thinking of a way to explain to Nomuri she was having a date with one of his students. I love the fact we can just hear how done he already is with this SHD. He still has to deal with that for their time at UA. Gran Torino said, laying down in laughter. Oh, if I know the rat, he is going to let Aizawa teach them for the 3 full years. She said herself, laughing for a distance. Run Izuku just used his unbelievable amount of never-ending stamina to outrun everyone. The only one coming close was Momo, who used skates, but not only did Izuku keep up, he was outpacing her while flirting the entire time. Without even sweating, that was a nice jog, Izuku said as the end while the others were on the floor panting, covered in sweat. How can you still walk around, bro? It's not normal. Like I said, got loads of stamina, barely get tired. Why is this like he's running with God mode on? Oh, have to see him in his prime. That SHD is a joke. He could run around the full day. It's great as he is busy with Eri and Koda a lot. Oswell is the class he teaches at UA. Oh no, I don't think a class. Learning on how to be a second Midoriya is a good idea. Well, thank God I won't be a villain in that, AFO said with a little fear as he thought about the chance of fighting 20 Izukus with the state to touches. He didn't care. He was flexible, so he was able to nearly fold himself in half without any problems. He also had a jutsu he could use. He didn't like using it as the sound alone really messed with his head. Dislocating his bones and kept it moving with chakra was not something he liked doing. Then the last test was push-ups, and Aizawa didn't want to wait until Izuku was tired. Do I have to do the push-ups, or can I make a double? Sure, if that means it will go by faster. Izuku smirked. What is the world record for push-ups? The total is around 10,000 push-ups. Why? Please don't do that many. We don't have the time, even with 2 of you. That is still 5,000 per person. Hahu said only 2. With that, Izuku crossed 2 of his fingers, making a cross sign. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. And in a large poo of smoke stood now 1,000 Izukus. Now we only got to do 10, believe it. Aizawa just dropped his stew and walked away. Completely done with that SHD. Yeah, that world is lost. Burn it all. Toya said he would not become a villain when there was a crazy that could summon meteors at his will and also summon 1,000 of himself that to his knowledge could also summon meteors. Toya might be able to burn most people to ash in a small time. He could not do SHD against the moon. What could anyone do against that? Hello, MSDRS Midnight, what is it you longing? Hey Nem, I got something to tell you, and you might not like it. What does it show? Did you lose me in a bet or something? She joked. Yes, I did. What? So listen, okay, there's this student, Izuku Midoriya, and he made the deal with me. If he got the first place, I would set up a date with you for him. So what, he barely won? No, he destroyed the test. It's the problem child Jiraiya Sensei was walking around with for the past couple of years. Well, at least as Izuku, but I wonder, I have a lot of stamina myself, so would he be able to wear me out? Oh yeah, he could. Just know that he's going to get a large group because he would hurt you all if he kept doing that all the time. So you kind of take turns as to still be able to walk and such. Jiraiya, while for Izuku and his family, was known as the Toad Sage or Pervy Sage. But to many pro heroes, he was a teacher to them that taught them how to sneak around and in some cases how to infiltrate the public. However, he was completely unknown. I want to see him at the USJ. That would be a fun sight to behold. Oh, you have a Nomu. Well, here, let him deal with this meteor. There's a lot of things this Izuku could do that would ruin their chance at USJ. But we might watch it sometime. Truth said, well, let's get 4. Something else. Truth said as he started looking for one again to watch. So what could we watch? I mean, I would like some Magic Stew again. I really like those, Sato said. Yeah, I mean, I would not be against something like that. Jiro said, I mean, we had that one where Achiko was dating Izuku, who was the Demon King. I could totally go for the second part of that. Then are you in for a treat? That is exactly what we will watch. Truth said, wait, really? Tsu asked. Jup, we're going to watch Izuku as the reincarnation of the Demon King Anos. Voldegode. That was the one where Izuku made all of them bow with nothing but his aura. Correct. Yes, Psycho, that is the one. So are we all ready to watch this, or is there still something you want? Oh yes, can I go back to sitting with Papa? Of course, come here. Eri and Koda sprinted toward Izuku, however didn't sit on Izuku's lap. Koda sat on Shino's lap, close to Izuku. And Eri went to Rei. Now with that, let's begin. And with a snap, it began. For UA it started. Strangely, they had decided to ignore classes completely. Now each department was one class. This, however, was not the strangest. The heroics class was bigger. Instead of 40 students, they had 43 students, and apparently 3 students hadn't shown up yet. Hey, look, it's all of us. Us was the only thing they could say, as it was the 40 students of 1A and 1B, except without Izuku, Bakugo, and Achiko, as well as Toga, Mei, Melissa, Shinso, Kami, and Psycho. What am I doing there? Melissa asked. Well, seeing that everyone has magic, people like Quirkless don't exist, and for why not doing something else? It's because you want to be a royal knight, and you do those things as a hobby. True said with him nodding. May found it weird, but she didn't mind that much. Sir, when will the other students arrive? It's highly disrespectful for Royal Knights in training to not show up for an entire week. Ida asked. He had been asking the entire week with the same speech. Ida, like I have said the last times, they will show up if I am correct. They will show up today, but we can't force them to come. Aizawa said, which was the truth. Even he, Inamuri, with the help of All Might, was unable to even lay a scratch on Izuku, not that they would want to. I know he was strong, but he can't be that strong, can he? I mean, it's All Might. Bubble Girl asked. Oh, he can't. Believe me, that Izuku could fold All Might without magic. It said that he could destroy universes with nothing but just fist. And while I like All Might, he ain't doing that. Truth said simply. Sir, who are they? You haven't told us anything. Fine, Toga. So these three students have had the highest scores we have seen at the beginning. The weakest of the three had a score of 4826. Then the second strongest was a score of 5,690. Sir, you have to be joking. Those scores are impossible for students. Kaibara asked, not believing. He himself had a score of 1410. His magic drill allowed him to send anything he had to gyrate like a drill. Wait, wouldn't we also get a power boost from Izuku, like he has given them to his family? Oh, some of you do get some. I don't know who exactly, but some of you do get a massive boost. It's cool to see. For what I can remember is that Shinso could control people with a touch Oswell instead of just talking. Truth said with a shrug. I'm not joking, Kaibara. It's a fact. I believe they're already waiting for us. We're going to move toward a special area on the side of the Demon Forest. We will first take a 30-minute car trip, then we'll have to run the other 30 minutes ourselves. So let's get moving, Aizawa said as he moved. As they arrived, they were met with three students looking their age. One sitting on a stone throne of sorts, one sitting on the other lap, and one leaning nearby on a tree. Oh, look, Izuku, they have arrived. How fun, Achiko said as she got up from his lap. You must be our classmates. It's nice to make your acquaintance, but it's also very disrespectful to us, our teachers, and the entirety of the UA for you to be a week late, Ida said with Bakugo, nearly blowing his face OU if not for Izuku's laughter. LOL, Bakugo is like a guard dog in this universe. It's pretty funny, Sato said to Bakugo, who just skewed. Hey, Truth, when is everyone going to be aware of Midoriya? I am assuming that we are not by the look of our reaction to them, Psycho asked. That is correct. None of them know yet, but the information really gets out during the time of the sports festival. That is correct. But that was my fault. You have my apologies. I meant no disrespect. We were just having trouble moving our home, which was the problem. Of course, he could without any Ewart rip the house out of the ground. Achiko wanted to move the house, and with that, they had to wait until the night before doing so. Oswell, as UA, wanted to create a good spot for them. He can just rip out a goddamn in-house like that. Yeah, of course he can. There's nobody stronger. If he really would go all out, there isn't anything left standing. I don't think a lot of people would be able to stand against him in a fight simply because he is too OP, like this one time he was fighting a death god. This god stabbed with a big butt sword in the chest, which killed him. But this got up and said, "Did you think killing me would kill me?" Truth said with people laughing at that statement. So, with the work of the Royal Knight team, called the Royal Cats, they cleared a big area. And with that, they were able to move in, but it did take a full week. Not so be rude, but do you really belong here? You don't seem that strong. You might get hurt, Mina asked, concerned for Izuku. Izuku, honey, please release the full extent of your aura. Of course, with that, Izuku released it all, but without the force. Oh, thank God. I doubt that if well-trained Royal Knights had to take a knee at 15%, we would for sure die at 100%. Oh, that is very correct. Momo, if Izuku would go 100% without holding back, not even the world could withstand it. Even now, at 100%, it's not even 100%, because that would just be too much for the world to handle. I wonder, could he use his aura to deflect magic attacks? Yes, but magic can't really do anything against him. Trush answered Momo with a laugh. You have to be kidding me, Kaminari said, as he covered up at the sight. That's bigger than All Might's, Momo said, completely shocked. She was rather well known, and her family had been royal knights for as long as royal knights were a thing. She was a direct descendant of the hero that helped the demon lord Anos. Thus, she had often been around knights, such as All Might or AFO, for the longest. Momo believed their auras to be the most intimidating and the close to the aura of the Demon King, something told in her bedtime stories. Oh my God, that is a flare and a half. We at least will know where he is whenever he is lost. That is impossible to miss, Rumi said, rather shocked at the pure light it gave. OU, how does it feel standing in front of something like that? I mean, sure, they can't the real force, but that has to give OU something. OU, right? Ibra asked. Best I could say would be insignificant, like nothing you could do matter, but then again, he can also give it a warm feeling with makes it feel as if you could take on the entire world. But here is this seemingly unknown green-haired guy making All Might's aura look like it was nothing more than that of an infant. Sorry for that, I should have warned you all beforehand. Vim and bro, how strong are you? That was like hella crazy, Cammy said. That doesn't matter at the moment, you can socialize later. We have the stew to do, Izawa said with Izuku giving a nod. With that, they moved to where the lesson would take place. So they're just going to ignore that display of pure power. How? Oh, Izawa has not been the most chill teacher, with him basically having to deal with that many students. He had to keep order, and with that, the students know who to listen to and want to follow his word. So he is even stricter. Jup, that is the deal, but it's all so that you can become the better royal knights, believe me. In the end, you are thanking him for the strict teaching. They after around a minute of walking in silence, partly because they were getting a little scared of their new classmates. They arrived at a small building. Hey, you in there? The door opened and out came three people. First was Nana, who looked to be the same age as Namuri. Next was Shigaraki, but instead of him looking creepy, he looked happy and healthy. Last was Toya. Hello, everyone, Nana said. We will get that one here, Oswell. Nana, Izuku said as he saw inside of Nana's eyes. She was sad at the sight of happy Shigaraki. I am not so sure about that. Oh, Nana, believe me when if I promise he is going home with you, he is going home, Izuku said with Todoroki giving a nod. He does follow up with his promises. I don't want you to go out and hurt you for me. If it meant that you are happy, I would be more than happy enough. These three were much like border guards for the demon forest. Nana herself was strong enough to do so herself, but her son Shigaraki liked helping out, and his best friend Toya was always close by. All three were teachers at UA.S. Oh, they knew who Izuku was. So he is a really good son. He is. Nana doesn't get out much, so Shigaraki brings fresh food and such whenever that is needed. Oh, that is so kind. Just makes me that more determined to get him back, and we're going to help you do it, Kirishima said, flexing his bicep. That isn't needed. It's mainly to help out a friend, and you are a great friend. You bet you're, but I'm going to help you. I mean, if you want to bring someone out of the darkness, you're going to have to need someone to block your back and to light the way, Todoroki said. This got Izuku and Nana to tear up a little. Before they could explain what today was going to hold, an army of black soldiers came forth. Each one had a single horn at the top, much like a demon. On the order of Holy King Zeldris, we order the person called Izuku Midoriya forth to be executed for taking the forbidden name for himself, the one that looked like the leader as he had two horns. Oh, that scary-looking armor. Never thought people under someone called Holy King would wear something so unholy. Ibra said, Oh, Ibra, you sweet thing, that Holy King is a fool, but you are one of the people that believe in the Demon King. By the way, your family holds scriptures from all time, all the information they could get from before the death of the Demon King, after it, everything. Oh my, Ibra didn't know what to feel at one point. She knew Izuku was a kind man, but him being called a demon just didn't sound like something she liked. Say that again, Bakugo said as his aura flared up in his rage with his hands sparking up. Achiko herself wasn't doing much better as the rocks from the floor started floating. The four teachers didn't stand by Idly, though, they all jumped in between themselves, also pissed. Oh, that gives me scary mom vibes, Mina said with truth laughing. That is pretty accurate, to be honest, in this world. Achiko has been talking about getting a baby. What does that mean on getting a baby sister or brother? Kota said with nobody thinking that was the case. Jup, that is the case. Bring forth Izuku Midoriya for execution. Now or else on order of Holy King Zeldris. You will all be put to death. You wish to kill me. Izuku said, not bothered. Please let me kill them. The pure disrespect of them still breathing should not be allowed. We will handle things, please. Sure, I don't want to deal with them, Izuku said as he sat down on a new stone throne. All while the other students were beyond confused, but for some of them it started to slowly make sense. So someone told this holy king about Izuku taking the name of Anos Voldigode, and to deal with that, instead of them allowing him to take a spot at the top, they send a full army to kill him. It does seem like that is the case, but sadly that is the case in all worlds. When I took a leave of absence from my enterprise to heal after a skewl with someone, a couple of employees tried taking over, and that required me to act. AFO said with a chuckle. I ain't sitting back, I am helping. Bakugo said as he cracked his bones with Oka. Come, let's enjoy the show. Achiko then moved on Izuku's lap. You're lucky they are here, or else I would not. Do cuddles, she said with a pout. Cute, Izuku said as he saw Achiko's pout. Eri just hugged Achiko as she saw her mama pout. Don't be mad like her mama. How could I be mad when you're hugging me? Achiko hugged back, making Eri giggle, which was a sound that should be illegal with how cute it sounded. You royal knights, get out the way so we can eliminate that criminal that spoke the name of the Forbidden One. You must know that falsely claiming that name is a sentence only justified with death. But who said it was ever false? That does not matter. The holy Zeldris wants that imposter dead, and we will carry that out. Now, squad, kill that boy. They really don't care that he is the more deadly and strongest, and the reason they have magic, Ryuko said, with a hand under her chin, thinking. Real idiot if you think about it. I mean, they should have been able to see that aura. So would they still try and mess with him? Rumi said with a carrot smoothie. The royal knights moved forward, shields carried up. Toya cover flames, flame, magic cremation wall. A blue wall of flames went forward with Shigaraki being hidden in them. Air, magic tempest storm. A large wave of wind blew the blue fire open and showed Shigaraki. But it was already too late. Decame magic. Withering touch. Shigaraki touched two people in the chest, them slowly becoming dust. But two behind them trusted their spears forward, trying to stab him in the chest, only for the spears to break as Nana used her floating magic to jump in the middle. Oh, wow, they are working together perfectly. That is so cool, Himiko said as she cooed. She might not have been the same person she was before, but she still cared for her friends, and Toya was one of them. So was Shigaraki, even more if he was being controlled by an evil doctor. She started fighting with a short sword and a buckle shield. Aizawa also jumped into action, wrapping his scarf around one of their heads and pulling him down and using him as a step, as he then landed a spinning heel kick against someone's tower shield, only for Bakugo to land an explosive punch right on his face, completely blasting of his head. They are great fighters all on their own rights, but they are perfectly working together. It's an appealing sight to behold. I wish most people could work that well together. Most of us don't have that type of luck. Most teammates are terrible to work with if you don't work out a plan beforehand, Rumi said, which was one of the reasons she hated teaming up. They went right away and started fighting the squad with Izuku and Achiko looking over. Hey Izuku, how about taking her as your own? She is rather strong. Excuse me, but what is going on? Kendo asked, not sure much like her other classmates. Wait, take her as his own. Does she mean HRM? Yes, that is what she means. Izuku really doesn't mind having Achiko only, but Achiko likes multiple girls in that relation, as He is a king, and a king deserves something nobody else had a HRM of strong, appealing women. Is that exactly? Well, at this point for us, it's not that special, I guess, but I guess for them it is. Oh, it's rather clear, is it not? I, Izuku Midoriya, am the demon king Anos Voltigode, and that has come out on its own. So now some fake king tries to kill me to stop me from taking my rightful place at the top of the world. Dude, are you okay? You might be strong, but you don't even look like the demon king. Oh, please tell me, Mr. Ojiro, what should the demon king look like? He was a little shocked that he knew his name, but then again, some very rich royal knight kids had those things. Well, as the story says, a monstrous oni as big as an oak tree with two large horns on his head and a large black tail, and he breathed fire and stew and eat virgins. Oh, he devours virgins, all right. Achiko joked. Well, that is not me. I have always looked like this, but you can always ask them when they are done, which should be soon. As they looked back, it showed the 5 of them standing over corpses of the knights, with the leader still being alive, but his shield was broken, and he was being held by Nana, who dragged him to Izuku. We thought, you might want to talk with him. Oh, thank you, that would be good. Might Oswell find out who went talking? Izuku said as he started moving toward the man. Well, we have seen one of them before, you know, where he was that massive dragon. Oh yeah, that's right, he had horns and was able to breathe fire. No tail, though. Oh, this Achiko is fun, Mina said with her and Achiko laughing. Well, let's get to watch something else again. What will we be watching next, Truth? Melissa asked as stood up to stretch her back a little, causing her back to crack and her to grunt in pleasure as it traveled through her entire body. I'm not really sure yet. Why, I got something better to do. Truth joked. Got any requests or something? Truth asked. I like the part 2s. Maybe something like that, Izuku, that is unkillable, had something cool happen, right? That is right. But if you want part 2s, I have felt like this would be nice. It's part 2 of the straw hats, so massive Izuku, you know. Oh, the one where his dad was that dude with the weird mustache, right? Jump that one. So let's start it. With a snap, the screen started, but Truth snapped his fingers again. What is wrong? It's a wrong part. What? It's like part 3 or 4. But no matter what I try, part 2 doesn't want to come out at all. So what do we do now? Mina asked unsurely. You do nothing. I will have to make a call. Truth made a phone out of his hand, using his thumb and pinky, and put it on his head, making everyone believe he was joking. Hey, I am having trouble getting Straw Hats Part 2 out. He then waited for a little. Yes, where they go? To Fishman Island. No, I didn't do it incorrectly. What even are you talking about? No, I didn't. Yes. Jup. Correct. OH, then what use are you? Truth hung up with a hue. Truth, what the was? That. Oh yeah, I went to ask the Multiverse Support Panel, or MSP, and told them I was having trouble with getting out the correct part, and they went and put the blame on me like I was doing something wrong, but there is static with that part, so if we want to watch that, we would have to come back later. Everyone was kind of shocked. It really felt like for the gods this was nothing more than cable or something. But are you not like a god? Yes, I'm a god to you, but here being a god is like a norm. So I'm playing like you don't know how to fix your TV right, same. Here, Truth said to Mina, who nodded while weirded out completely. So what is going on then? If we're skipping a whole area, I would like some info. Mitsuki asked with everyone agreeing. If they were watching something, they would prefer to have most, if not all, the info needed to understand what they are watching. Sure. So due to some stew, some of the crew parted ways. After reaching an island, they would meet up again, but before they could, they met one of the big mom crewmates. They used the threat to get Sanji, their pervy blonde-hair cook, to come with them to get married. Louis, the captain, was not having any of it and went into Big Mom's territory with Izuku and some of the others to get him back, while the others went ahead with their original plan. And we were picking up in the middle of that. Truth said with everyone nodding. But who is Big Mom? She's one of the 4 strongest pirate crews like Whitebeard, Izuku's father, in this universe. We see Izuku chained up on a chair, surrounded by pirates, all with food-related things. Izuku knew he was surrounded by Big Mom pirates, which was right what he wanted. Big Mom was a Yonko. A Yonko was the ruler of the sea, much like his late father, Edward Newgate. Whitebeard Now normal people would never want to be in his position because the Big Mom pirates were dangerous. Thankfully, Izuku isn't normal. I mean, look at him, he looks even bigger than before. Yeah, now that he is back with his crew, he is getting even stronger than before, plus with what Sanji learned, he has been putting on mass even more than before now. God damn, man. Didn't think he was getting bigger, but then again, if I remember correctly, he isn't bigger than his father. Inko said, but for Izuku, this was perfect, as Big Mom had one of his crewmates, Sanji. And Izuku was getting him back, of course, wasn't alone at the island, his captain Oswell as. Some of his other crewmates were on the island Oswell, but they were hiding, as the plan told them to. We already know this, Bubble Girl said. Yeah, I know, but you wanted to know what was happening, so I told you, no crying about it now. Man, still look how many people are around him, all with weapons. How is he not worried? Kaminari said he just built the unit. Truth joked. In front of him sat Smoothie, one of the 3 sweet commanders. She was the 14th daughter and the 35th child of the Charlotte family. She was tall. She stood at 464 meters, which were only around 35 centimeters shorter than Izuku, who grew to 5 meters instead of his 4 meters. Them, and she is a total babe. Emmy said, not expecting her to hold Izuku hostage. She has really long legs. Yeah, she is part of the long leg tribe. Dude, you don't have to make fun of me. It was just an observation. No, I wasn't making fun of you. In that world, there's a group of people with long legs, which are called the long leg tribe. You also have the long arm tribe, and like people with 3 eyes. Legit is all types of people. Truth said, with Kaminari half believing him. You will marry me and join the Big Mom pirates, she said, with Izuku just chuckling. Don't get me wrong. Lady, you are very good looking, and I would have no problem marrying you, but I am already in a relationship. So it's kind of up to them if you join in, but your DM in, sure I ain't. Leaving the Straw Hat Pirates. Oh please, you are chained up, you are stuck, you will do as we say. Izuku just broke the chains as if they were wet toilet paper and grabbed her by the neck and lifted her up. No, I do what I want. I was being a gentleman by sitting and talking, but do not forget who the boss is, he said as he brought her to his face. She tried getting lost in his grip, but he was not being seen as a threat for no reason. Oh, that is so manly, Kirishima screamed as he saw Izuku break the chains. Then, he is just growing a HRM or something. Guess Izuku's think alike, Namuri said as a joke. But how did he just break those chains like that? Is he really that strong? Oh, he is. Just wait till you find out how he trains. He then let her go and sat back down. The Big Mom pirates around them were terrified. Sure, they were there to fight him if the need arise, but Smoothie was their big gun at the moment, and she just got shown who was really in charge. Now, if you want, we can go back talking, or I could put your head on the floor, stamp all the others, and walk you up to you. He said the last part was slow with Smoothie, sitting down, not looking scared, but she had basically no choice. So he has the strength to walk through all of them, but holds OU just because he is a gentleman. How manly. A true example of how a true man should behave. Kirishima and Tetsu screamed as they embraced each other as a manly man, while the others just laughed at their weirdness. Izuku had just shown that she wasn't a challenge to him, which was quite a shock to her. His bounty was just 400 million after what happened to Dressrosa. Her bounty was more than double his. She had one of 932 million, which was supposed to be even bigger than his captain's bounty of 500 million. So those bounties are like what their sign of power or something. Sir Naitai asked. Sort OU, it's like a threat to the world government. Sort OU. So Louis like attacked all 3 of their locations and received a 500 mil bounty, but most take it as a strong indicator. So yes, so believe count on the bounty to show how strong people are, but it has nothing to do with strength, and more with how annoying they are against that world government. Basically, but high bounties also mean a lot of power. So Smoothie, do you wish to marry me, or is it Big Mom that wants it? Why? Well, because I wonder if you will join me willingly, or if it's just your mother's order. Join you. Yes, if you want to marry me, you should join the Straw Hats, at least if the captain is okay with it, but he never minds more friends. It was my choice, mother always Spoke about her time with Whitebeard, and you seem like a good man. Fine, please find me. After I get her crewmate back, I'm sure you will enjoy it. What? You can't leave, I'm still your capture. She stood up, sword drawn, as the other minions also lifted up their weapons. Gurura, Izuku laughed out loud. You should not lift a weapon to your future husband. Izuku grabbed her face. I'm going to get my crewmate. You can either stand back like a good wife and wait for your future husband, or stand in my way and find out why not even. Island stand a chance with that. She lowered her sword and cursed herself and her family. They should have asked Katakuri to be here, but then again he might not have stood a chance. Himself. Who is that Katakuri? He is the strongest member beside Big Mom herself. So who is stronger, Izuku or that Katakuri? Well, in terms of power, it would be Izuku without a doubt, but Katakuri has super strong haki. So if Izuku could hold out until he finds out himself, then Izuku would win. True said it was really a toss-up due to the haki. Without haki, Katakuri would be smashed in the floor. The minions, however, stood up. You will not leave. Izuku didn't even use his devil fruit. He just beat them all without a sweat. These minions were nothing. Izuku might not be the captain of the Straw Hats, but he was most likely the strongest fighter they had. He went ahead and moved through the entire castle he was in looking for his weapon. Is he? Yeah, kind of. Izuku has the most destructive capabilities of his crew and the most strength. His captain is more durable, but then again, both fight stronger and harder if it is for their friends. And seeing that they are friends, they can't really go full out. But can he really destroy islands? His nickname is Island Destroyer, as he has before destroyed island the Marines were hiding on. There, Izuku met someone. Sure, it wasn't someone that could win against him, but without his weapon, it was something he hadn't done for a while. Sure, before his time with the Whitebeard pirates, he was just a brawler. He trained by lifting houses and boats, punching mountains, and fighting anyone that called themselves strong. He fought sea kings and sea beasts to provide the villages of food and himself of money. But then during the 2 years with the Whitebeard pirates, or at least the formerly known Whitebeard pirates, he focused on fighting with his weapon and even training more strength. Instead of just boats, he started lifting ships filled with people. And instead of houses, he lifted castles. Instead of just punching mountains, he had to punch mountains to dust. That is insane. Look at what he is lifting. That is a full-on ship, not a boat, but ship with people inside. Mitsuki said, gripping Masaru's hand and nearly crushing it, while Masaru, without showing pain, just tried calming his wife. Truth was laughing his but OU at the sight of all the open mouths as they saw Izuku punch a mountain to dust. So him fighting Charlotte Daifuku, a man standing at 489 meters. Sure, Smoothie was strong, but she fought with her sword most of the time. So now fighting someone that basically fought 2-on-1 was something else. But then again, Izuku just powered through without a problem. But the fight was stopped with Izuku got both his hands on Daifuku's head and pressed. He didn't die, but the force was enough to knock him out with foam out of the mouth. Shortly after, Izuku found his weapon, and with that went on his way to chase after Sanji. So he really just want to fight by putting too much pressure on the brain. All Might said, rather shocked. He himself had to do that only once in America, as he was fighting a villain that was able to perfectly absorb blunt force, so his punches didn't work. Jup, it was pretty funny. How did he even come up with that? Oh, he was trying to crack someone that had a skin of diamond. Did he? They asked, with Truth not giving an answer, leaving them annoyed. It quickly turned into chaos. Louis was able to defeat Katakuri, but that wasn't it. Big Mom stood in their way. Now Louis, Izuku, and Jinbe stood in between the Thousand Sunny and Big Mom. On the Thousand Sunny sat Smoothie, as well as the Straw Hats that went on the Sanji rescue mission. What true love wins, Namiri said. She might want to be the one with Izuku, but she was still a sucker for love stories, and this was one she would watch 10 out of 10 times. I would feel weird if I was with them, though. Here they are, fighting that girl's family, and Tada, she is on your ship claiming to be the wife of Izuku. That would be weird. Louis, go to the Sunny. I will keep this old lady entertained until you all are saved. No, I will never leave my Nakama. You won't leave me. Jinbe is here, right? And he will meet up with you again. So just instead of meeting only Jinbe, you will meet back up with me. But I can't. Louis, believe in me as I believe in you. I promise that I will be with you until we have both reached our dream, so I won't give up. Fine, Jinbe Izuku, we will wait in Wano. Come at any cost. Aye, Captain. Izuku said as Louis went to the ship. She is one big butt lady. Cammy said at the sight of Big Mom. To say she was big was an understatement. She was a massive old lady. And she was scary. She was looking like she would eat both of them the second she was next to them. Well, I would normally not condone the violence against the elderly. I do wish for Izuku to defeat her and go on his travels with his friends, or Nakama. Ida said, Jinbe, think you can lift me in a small ship and move fast? Yes, why? To get rid of the entire fleet. Are you insane? We can't fight the entire fleet. Fine then, get you men out of there. I will do it myself. Izuku grabbed his weapon and started spinning it. Even if you're Newgates. Child, do you really believe yourself equal to me? No, I know I don't stand a chance in an all-out fight to the death, but I will still hold you back until my family is saved. Izuku shot forward, pouring his haki into his weapon Oswell as his devil fruit. Kick that old hags, but Izuku. Pixie Bob screamed as she stood up on the bed, clenching her fist in excitement. Of course he is going to win. No wince, but he is a monster of a man, and she is a fat old lady, Kamakiri said with truth, laughing. She might be fat, but she is a far scarier monster than Izuku is. At the moment the clash that happened was in Izuku's favor. He knew Big Mom would be stronger in haki, but he was stronger in muscles, and his devil fruit destroyed her fleet, or at least a part of it, but he was punched back into the floor. You're strong for an old lady, but I've been punched by stronger. Mama, you're strong for a brat, but I've been punched by stronger. That wasn't a lie. Izuku's father had punched her, but she wasn't uninjured. His weapon was one of the 12 strongest blades, and it cut her. Her hand had a small cut on her palm. Nothing crazy, but it was clear for Big Mom that this would not be an easy fight. They clashed again, and Big Mom used haki, making sure she wasn't cut, but that left her open to a punch by Izuku, which knocked her back a little. You should have taken the over of my daughter and entered into marriage. You could have been strong with better training. Izuku smirked, but in that he didn't see her left hand coming in for a strike which shot it into a building. That old lady has one hell of a left. Izuku joked with Emmy, laughing the loudest like normal, but she doesn't know Izuku already stole her daughter. She went willingly, so didn't steal anything. Izuku said, as this version of himself looked like a good guy that would never kidnap someone. That hurt, he told himself as he got back up without real injuries. Live or die, Big Mom said, using her devil fruit. Izuku just responded by using his weapon to attack, which she blocked with her arm, cutting her and making her bleed. Izuku used this downtime to pick up a rock and shoot it toward one of the ships, piercing it and making it sink until Big Mom's open palm struck him into the floor and gave him 8 more strikes before Jinbe attacked Big Mom with Fishman Karate and creating some distance. The Straw Hats are out. My men are able to flee. Now it's our turn. Let's go, but first, Izuku grabbed his weapon, this time with both weapons, and poured the most of his devil fruit as he could into it, and swung it like a baseball bat, destroying the island they were on, and attacked the rest of the Big Mom fleet as Jinbe grabbed him and swam away with the help of his men. Diamond Islands really don't stand a chance against him, do they? Nope, they don't, but he will get even stronger. How much stronger can he even get? Well, his father was said to be able to destroy the world if he wishes as much, so Izuku will reach that level. Maybe a little more. And then, that was sick. Kind of sad that part 2 wasn't able, but that will be out someday, right? Jup just has to wait a little bit. Truth said as he went to SWCH's own chair with a super sweat massage chair with heating. Let me check it for a new world. How about a scary story? You all okay with that? What? Inko asked, and sure, she was never that good. with scary stories. Well, in our God world, it's nearly Halloween, so I thought, want to see a scary story? Yeah, let's do it. Gives us more chances to snuggle with Izuku. How about this? We will first do a scary story and then a funny Halloween part. This got them to agree in truth. Snapped his fingers, which started the scary story. We see Achiko driving in an old-time Toyota. Driving through a forest, there were a couple of lights on the road, but seeing as it was around 9 in the morning, they weren't on yet. She was on a week-long vacation and had used some of her money from her part-time job to pay for a week-long vacation in a lodge. Oh no, why me? And why am I going to a scary lodge? Achiko said. She might like to watch scary still and do still. Like enter haunted houses like the date Yui and Izuku had, but she didn't want to sleep for a week in a scary forest house. The owners of the lodge barely used it and put it up on a cheap site to get some extra cash, as they were terrified of the lodge. They had had some bad experiences with it, but Achiko would deal with whatever it was for that price. So she ignored all the reviews about scary still happening and just went ahead and paid. I mean, for that price, getting to sit in a lodge for a week in the mid of snow was a dream for her. If it wasn't a Halloween story, I would have loved to be in her spot. That sounds amazing, Setsuna said as she thought about a warm wood cabin sitting next to a fireplace with hot cocoa and looking out a large window to see a winter wonderland. So now she was driving down the road, looking forward to the week of rest. She was super stressed due to all the college classes Oswell as the part-time job as a waitress. So as she reached the house, she had a big smile on her face and grabbed her bag and moved. And she dropped it at the door. For the price, she had expected it to be somewhat of a dump, but it was near perfect. The first day she spent setting herself up, and love it so far. It was roomy and welcoming. It had a near-perfect kitchen, so she went ahead and cooked a good meal. She even took a walk around the area a little. But then it turned dark, and Achiko, who was sitting on the couch reading her book, decided she would make some dinner. Just as she walked out of the area, her eyes flew over the window in the living room, and she swore she just saw someone. She snapped her head back to the window, and she saw nothing at all. All a trick of the mind. I shouldn't have read those silly reviews, Achiko said out loud as she sighed, and she went back to cooking her food. And I would leave right then and there. That nope, not sleeping there, Mina said as she went and hid under Izuku's arm. She might like to watch scary movies, but that is only fun when she can hide behind her blanket or snuggle up next to Izuku. She went to bed. Shortly after, the bed was on the second floor at the back of the house. Sadly for Achiko, it didn't have a balcony, cause she wanted to look at the stars, but at least there was a window to look at. Out on the road, she came in on. She went to sleep, but as she was trying to sleep, she started to hear a loud knocking right at the back of her head, which shocked her. She was too high with nothing there to lift someone that high, but she was sure she heard a steady hard knock for seconds or so, which scared her, but it had to be a tree. What else could it be? It was nothing more than a tree knocking on the wall, and she was just scaring herself with all those dumb reviews. So first she saw a scary person in the window, and now that I would have burned that house down right then and there. That SHD is haunted, Kaminari said with Bakugo coughing. Pages, would you stay there? No, but if I had to, I would just kick that dude's. But Bakugo said, believing he could win that fight. She ignored the knocking and went to sleep with a little trouble. That morning she woke up feeling good. First thing she did, however, was get dressed and make her way through the snow to the back of the house. And in her confusion, there was no tree close enough to knock on the wall. And as she looked at the ground, she again saw nothing. The snow was undisturbed. It must have been a trick of the mind. On that day, nothing happened. But then on Wednesday, something happened. Again at night, she heard her name over again together with knocking, as if it was walking around the entire house. She ran to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and ran back to her bed terrified. The knocking stopped, but the sing-songing of her name kept going as it got quieter going toward the road. Stay in bed with the knife and don't move. The killer can't get to you if you stay there. Who says it's a killer? Maybe it's a ghost or something like that. It might even be someone's quirk. No, quirks don't exist. Truth said, and right at that point the confidence of people who believed they could sleep there. For a week went downward. Achiko used all her courage and went toward the window. She lifted the bottom corner and peeked slightly, and what she saw scared her enough to drop her knife and fall back. She saw a figure in pure black with a white face mask standing in the middle of an undisturbed snow patch, right under a light waving at her, looking right at her. This got some of the more easily scared people to scream, terrified at the sight of that creepy thing. Mitsuki said as she clutched her armchair a little tighter than she would normally do. She looked again, and he was still there, waving at her while looking right at her. Standing in snow, but no footprints going toward that location at all. Achiko grabbed her knife and ran to bed. She stayed awake until sunlight and ran out in her PJs, knife in hand,
toward the location where that man was standing, and to her absolute shock, she saw nothing. No footprints, nor anything that showed that someone would be standing there. This scared her a lot. It nearly made her pee herself. She made herself inside again. She went ahead and went back. This had to be just a trick of her mind. She had read too many of those DMN reviews, and she was scaring herself. She was just crazy because of her DMN job. She closed all the windows and closed the curtains and went to read, but with no sound. She got scared. She also didn't move a meter without a knife in her hand. Why is she still staying there? Is she insane? Toga screamed, scared, trying to not look, but never really looking away. Nope, just not one to waste money. Truth said with a laugh, as that was the only reason Achiko stayed at that house for that long, was to not waste her money. Then, at night, she tried staying awake, but she fell asleep due to how tired she was. She didn't sleep well, but she did wake up with enough sleep for her trip back. She made cereal for breakfast, ate as fast as she could without looking like a slob, and packed her bags and went to her car and drove, not wanting to stay in that house a second longer. She could have sworn that in the side of her eyes, she could have seen the same black figure with the white mask again. But she didn't care. She was gone. Then when she made it to her home that afternoon and she went to clean her clothes, she opened her back and let out a scream as she fell back, trying to get away from her back. It showed the same white mask with red eyes, along with dozens of pictures of sleeping Achiko with that black figure on all of her nights at that lodge. It was complete silence, as most of the people were absolutely scared shitless. Some were unaffected, as they didn't really get scared by such things. It was, however, still a good horror story, although they would have preferred to see it without their friend. Now this one isn't scary, it's more fun and playfully, so hope you enjoy it. Well, can I maybe first chance my clothing? These aren't as comfortable. Mina lied. She wasn't the only one. They might have peed a little as they were scared when seeing that black figure in the pictures with Achiko. Truth just snapped his fingers, and clothing was switched. Then with a second snap, the story began. We see the class we know as 1A standing in the gym along with 1B, but they were all looking older, not a lot older. They were now third-year UA heroic students, and while most looked pretty much the same, like Ojiro or Shoji, some like Kaminari and Mineta decided to grow a weird little patch of hair in the chin, which they called a beard. With the girls, most were the same as they were 2 years ago, but they all were in costumes because today was the Halloween party. But one well-loved person wasn't there. Yo Kiri, have you heard of Midori? Mina called out. Mina was dressed as a devil. She wore a skin-tight, bright red suit that had a tail and showed her BRSD along with a trident, using her own horns as devil horns. Nah, all I know was that he left to pick up Eri and Koda from his mom Oswell as picking up his costume. Kirishima was dressed as a cheerleader along with Siro and Kaminari. They had done a bet with Bakugo and lost. Bakugo was dressed as a British chef and had, since the party started around 10 minutes ago, yelled, "I bloody raw," and "Where is the lamb sauce?" in a British accent at least 6 times. There were laughs all around as they saw Kirishima, Siro, and Kaminari Oswell as laughs for Bakugo. "You look great, Mina," Izuku told Mina with her gaining a massive smile. "I can always dress up for you back home if you would like. Who knows, might have to see." Do you know what he is going as? Toru asked, who was dressed in sheet as she was a ghost. Below that she was completely naked, which she used to scare unsuspecting people. Nah, he was very secretive about that. I tried asking. Ojiro said, who was in a kangaroo suit. Why do you girls want to show OU to your crush? Mineta said, as he was dressed in a massive pumpkin. Over the years, as UA Mineta began as a massive pervert that the girls really disliked, but during the end of the second year, Mineta came out as gay, and since then has he not only started to like himself more, his relationship with the entire class improved. Apparently, he had used his perviness to convince himself he was straight. There were a good amount of laughs about the costume as well, as when Mineta apparently came out as gay, they weren't laughing to insult him. They were laughs at the stupidity of his action. If Mineta was really gay, they would support him 1000%, but it was still pretty funny too. See there tied up, Mineta's shaking no, says you. Kyoka said with a blush as she tried hiding behind her coat, but she wasn't fully able to as her wolf ears were still poking out. Kyoka had decided to dress like a wolf girl, but because she along with the other girls were trying to gain Izuku attention, had gone for a little outfit as her clothes were tight and ripped in the perfect locations. Hey, I can admit that if Midoriya was gay I would ask him out, but he is straight, so what is your excuse? Mineta said, causing the boys to laugh and high-five him while Kyoka just went to hide behind Momo, who was dressed as Mummy. A mummy, of course, with the bandages tight around her, add hips and lose everywhere else. Damn, and you two look amazing, Cammy said as they saw Mummy Momo. What do you think, Izu? Emmy said as she egged him on. Both look super dash. Very appealing, he said as he started getting a dry mouth and had to lick his lips. It's okay, Kyo, they don't know what they are talking about, Ochiko said as she walked over to Kyoko with her broom as she was dressed as a super, which matching with Sue. No, it's kind of already known to everyone that all of you are crushing on Midoriya, Shoji said as he was dressed as a squid with Koda, who was dressed as the Easter Bunny, nodding along. It's quite obvious, Aoima said, showing his costume as a vampire. While I do not wish to speculate about the feelings of my friends, it's easy to spot that you all hold Midoriya in a special place within your heart with the hopes of becoming something more than friends, Ida said as he moved like a robot as that was his costume. Todoroki walked up with everyone looking at him. Todoroki, why are you in a macaroni noodle costume? Cause I am a Todoroni, he said with a straight face, causing everyone to laugh. Emmy was on the floor laughing, trying to hold her pee in along with a lot of the others. Mostly everyone was at least chuckling at the costume Todoroki wore, and the reason he wore it. Ray tried not to laugh at her son, but it was hard as his serious face just made it funnier. The doors blasted open, and in came 4 ex-students. And one person they knew really well. It was from their time at 1A, the big 3 with Yu and Bubble Girl, or Car Coco what. Mirio and Tamaki were dressed up as Mario and Luigi. Nijire, Yu and Car Coco were dressed up as an old hero team from America called the Powerpuff Girls. Hey everyone, it's me, Mirio. Mirio said in Mario's voice and tone. Where is Midoriya? He told me Eri and Koda were matching costumes, and I wanted to see. Mirio asked Sato, who was dressed up. All Might answered that nobody knew. Aw man, we wanted to show our bodies to him. Nijire said, no shame in her intentions, but it caused the other 2 to blush and to call out Nijire, while Mirio just chuckled. From a corner of the room stood Tokoyami dressed as a chicken to shake his head. The laughs were still strong, a little died down with Nijire's statement, but brought back up when they saw Tokoyami in a chicken costume, when Dark Shadow made chicken sounds. However, the laughs only grew louder. It forced Truth to even pause the show a little because some had trouble seeing with the tears in their eyes. 3B walked up as a group with the guys just wanting to mingle with the other class and the girls to wonder where their green-haired crush was. Aways was dressed up as a skeleton with Kaibara also being one. Kamakiri was dressed as a shark and Korwar was dressed as the Grim Reaper. Shishida went as a Wookiee, and Shota went for a penguin. Tsuburaba was dressed like a clown. Tetsu went for a gladiator as he wore real armor and even had a fake sword with him. Fukudashi was dressed like a book, much to the amusement of his class. Juzo went as a ghost with a hole cut out for his entire face. Bondo was dressed up as a plague doctor. Monoma went as the Phantom of the Opera, and Rin went for a dragon outfit, with Shinso and Reiko being a two-headed zombie, with Shinso just carrying Reiko on his back with her being covered by a large coat. Ah, what a cute couple custom, Mina said as Shinso and Reiko blushed but kept holding hands with each other. Each of the guys liked their own costumes and were joking about dressing up like that in the real world the next time Halloween came around. Then for the girls, Kendo went for Mitzi, although her clothing was on the right side, which was the point. Kodai went as a cat girl with cat ears, cat whiskers are drawn on, and collar that said kitty, and tight leather catsuit with a tail. Komori was dressed up as a nurse with a thermometer right in between her BRSD. Next to her stood Ibra, who was dressed up as an old American villain turned hero called Poison Ivy, with her basically wearing a very right swimsuit made from leaves. Then was Pony, who was wearing an outfit from an American hero called Cow Lady, with the last being Setsuna, had chosen a nurse outfit. If that doesn't get my attention, I'm going to need to get checked out, Izuku said as his eyes were glued to the screen as he saw his appealing girlfriends in super outfits. He loved seeing them in those outfits. He started to think he might have a cosplay dash, but that would have to be tested. Back at home, Midoriya still nowhere to be seen. Kendo asked Momo, as most of the girls glared at each other, all knowing what the other wanted to do. Why do you want to know? Mina said with a little glare. Hey, has anyone seen Muscles? I didn't get dressed up for nothing. May came walking and dressed up as Winry Rockbell. Next to her was Melissa Shield dressed up as Dr. Frankenstein. You like anime? Pony asked May. From time to time, usually watch it when Power Loader kicks me out. Like mech animes a lot as it gives me cool ideas, May said with Pony, getting very excited at the idea of a new friend to watch anime with. With them were the three final women their age that was hunting for Midoriya. First was Toga, who left LOV right after the overhaul incident and turned good. She was now at UA learning under Recovery Girl to be a nurse, with her outfit being just that. Next to her was Cammy, who joined UA in her second year, dressed up as Succubus, and last was Psycho, dressed up as a normal doctor. I like your outfits, Namuri said, with Izuku again agreeing. The costumes were looking great and fit very well. Even Cammy's outfit, that sort of looked self-made, looked absolutely stunning. I would say it might be a little weird for a school party, but you're all adults, so, Niza said. He would never judge someone how they dressed. Next to the DJ booth stood some of the teachers. First was Aizawa, who was dressed up like a mummy as he just wrapped his scarf around his head and called it a day. In the DJ booth stood Present Mike, as his head was an old boombox radio. They were talking with some of the guests that showed up, with them being the Wild Wild Pussycats, Ryukyu, Mirko, and MT Lady. Hey, we're Namuri and Midoriya. Kinda wanted to see if I could spar with him, Mirko said in her costume of a Playboy bunny, with Ryuko giggling while she was dressed up as an angel. Sure, sparring, that is what's on your mind. MT Lady had to laugh at this while she was dressed as a teacher, with stockings, a tight skirt, and a tight white blouse which was open to seeing her BRSD, with her carrying a clipboard and a pen along with some glasses completing her look. I heard that Izuku was on his way here, Mandalay said as she and the other female members of the Wild Wild Pussycats were dressed up as Charlie's Angels, with Tiger being Charlie. That looks great. You might have to go and think of becoming a teacher, Nijire said with a laugh as you gave a shrug. I think that look will only be for my honey, she said as she reached over and scratched Izuku behind the ear, a little something that he liked. Oh my, you're using his given name. My Shinso, how close are you with him? Ryuko said. Well, Koda seems to think of him much like a father, and with the many playdates Eri and Koda are having, he said he didn't mind. Why are you jealous of me? Shinso said with a blush. Then the door opened, and in came Namuri, who was dressed as a schoolgirl. Checkered skirt, white blouse tied around her waist, showing a lot of cleavage, with bright red lipstick. hair is side ponytails and stockings. Together with Emi, who wore the same outfit as Namiri. Lucky son of a dash. Kaminari said super jealous as he and everyone else could see the army of 10 out of 10 babes Izuku had. Midnight was a wet dream for many of the boys growing up. It was much like a grown-up the requirement for most guys, and to see her dressed as a schoolgirl was just something else. He at that point never wanted to be Izuku more, but he was glad Izuku gets something great in his life. He felt sick watching his backstory. He didn't know if he would have pulled through if he went through that, but Izuku did, and if anyone was allowed to live out a dream of having a HRM of super babes, it was Izuku. Hey SLTS, you seen Green today? Oh yeah, he was going to change his clothing into his costume, so he should arrive soon enough. Where is the teacher's aide? I would have assumed she would already be here. Yeah, Fuyumi had invited her mother over, but there's a clothing problem. Apparently Shoto bought his mother a kettle costume as a joke, which caused some problems, but I gave her something she could wear, Namiri said with a chuckle as Aizawa nearly choked on his kue. Right then Fuyumi and Rei entered the gym, with Fuyumi wearing a which outfit. Rei was dressed up as Elsa from the Disney movie Frozen, but seeing the outfit came from Namiri, it was a little. Toya spat out his drink, nearly choked to death on his drink as he started coughing and laughing. I don't get it. Oh well, when Rei was going through a very bad time due to someone, she kind of poured scalding hot water over Todoroki's face, but when she released what she did, she threw the water away and used her ice on his eye, which caused the scar he has. But while Rei might have been the one to do it, she was not the one deserving of the blame. But Todoroki grew and now even sees the humor in it, although it's dark humor, Truth said, with Izuku saying it might be an understatement. After a little talking, the groups more or less split up into the girls and the boys, with Reiko joining the boys' side as she was still clinging onto her boyfriend Shinzo. The guys were talking about possibly doing something fun after this, maybe partying at the dorms, while the girls were sort of discussing who would date with Izuku, with all of them having their own point, but without outright saying it. Then the door went open and it was Izuku. First, they saw Eri, who was dressed up Izuku as well as Koda, wearing the same outfit. Both had bright red shoes, which they already owned, along with a Deku suit, gloves, and even a mouthpiece. But then came Izuku, who was wearing an animal loincloth and a small open vest, also made from animal hide, and a club showing he was a caveman, which nearly caused the girls to faint and drool in lust, and the guys to laugh. Oh my god, Inko screamed as she started taking pictures of Eri and Koda with her phone and Toshi's phone. She wasn't the only one to take pictures. All the girls did. They didn't just take pictures of Eri and Koda, however. Yo, everyone, Izuku said with a chuckle as he entered the party. It was only around 7 and it was a Friday, so Eri and Koda were allowed to stay up until 10. Izuku, Eri, and Koda quickly mingled in the crowd, with them all too happy to show OU their costume along with their well-practiced smashes. Mirio went to joke cry to Eri about not being dressed up as him. She quickly promised she would dress up as him next year. She promised as she felt bad, but Mirio told her he was joking, which made her giggle. Izuku was quickly surrounded by girls, which were bound to happen even if he wore a sheet over him. Izuku was very popular as a hero in training. He all but took the #1 spot from Mirio while not even being a hero yet. But then again, Izuku nor Mirio never cared about their possible ranking. Izuku did a little, but only because he had to take care of his 2 children. But if he had enough to make sure they were happy, he was happy. A hero worthy of the title of hero, Stain said with a smile, as some were a little shocked as they kind of forgot about him. I mean, I don't think most of us care about rank, but it's cool to know how high people rank you, Kirishima said. I like my rank, it shows how strong I am. Rumi said, it was a mixed deal for most. Nobody really cared about the rankings, it was more of a public image thing, but they did like that they could see if people appreciated them. But all the girls were surrounding him, they were feeling up his muscles while trying to be stealthy about it most of the time. But Namiri, Mina, Setsuna were feeling him up without a care in the world. Didn't. Expects you to wear something this daring, Midoriya. Yeah, I should have not done a poll on my social media. I do hope I look good. He could only chuckle as he was all the girls nod as fast as they could. You going to wear that tomorrow when you're going trick or treating? No, I think I will just go as a skeleton with a mask. Make sure we don't get too many kids distracted. If I was you, I would worry about the moms. You are ripe for the taking, Rumi said as she trailed her finger over his abs. Deku the hunter. Emmy joked with her, laughing at her own joke like she often did. It was just that nobody was as funny as her. To be honest, he isn't that well. He only has one gilf. Gilf? Ochako asked Kaminari, who had a massive smile on his face. Granny, I like to dash. This was met with a loud belly laugh from Nana, as All Might nearly went to spank Kaminari for talking about his mentor like that. I guess that is me, she said. Deku. What's up, Uraraka? Would you all like to dance? Ochako stuttered out. Of course, I would be a fool to decline a dance of someone as appealing as yourself, he said as he took her hand and went to the dance floor. Namiri forced Present Mike to put on a somewhat slower song so that they could slow dance. Namiri knew love. She knew Izuku had feelings for the girls, but his kind nature would never hurt most of them to be with one of them, so he ignored his feelings most of the time. So she came up with a plan she would get the girls to agree with creating a HRM for him. Why does that not even surprise me at this point? Oh well, most likely because Izuku is just spilled diurant and has a secret quirk that allows him to attract hot things. This got Izuku himself to chuckle. Might be the case. Never tested myself for that one, he said, in between chuckles as he remembered the time he tried all sorts of quirks. He even believed at one point he had a quirk to control ducks, but it just seemed that he and ducks and similar ideas of how ducks should behave. It would not be the first time Izuku would have a HRM. Well, technique, it would be the first time, but online there were already dozens of women that claimed they were in a HRM for Izuku. They sort of worshipped him like a god because, in the eyes of some, he was able to complete feats not even All Might could, but she didn't want to be the one to bring it up, simply because they could take it as a joke. So she acted smart, and today her plan would work perfectly. She had, over the time of a week, brought up the word HRM a lot while being near the girls. It might have been a little manipulative, but it was for the greater good. She just wanted them to be happy. I would appreciate it if that would have meant we would have dated before, Ochako said with a sigh as she remembered how long she tried forcing her feelings down just so she would be able to focus on her hero career as well as creating a good life. Hey, I got an idea, but it might sound strange, Momo said as she looked with envy toward Ochako, who had her head on Izuku's shoulder with both his hands on her hip, holding her close while they swayed side to side. What is it, Yamamo? Setsuna said also, looking at Ochako. Well, what if we all date Izuku? What? I must have misheard him, Kyoka asked as she went ahead and used her pinky to clear her ear. Well, what if we dated him together, like all of us dating him at the same time? Oh, I love that. Let's do that, Pony said, turning very excited, licking her lips, ready to jump Izuku right then and there. How would we even do that? Fuyumi said. I might know. Namiri said. The girls then went and whispered that idea toward Ochako, who blushed and excused herself from Izuku, who went ahead and danced with Eri and Kota. The song turned far more upbeat, and the dancing was now just silly, with some of the guys joining in while the girls went ahead and created rules for the HRM. Their plan was complete just when Izuku brought Eri and Kota to bed. Both of them were knocked out and sleeping on one of the couches placed in the gym. But it was time for their plan. But it took a little longer as Eri woke up midway and asked for a story. I like when Papa tells me stories, Eri said, with Izuku almost dying of cuteness as he saw the smile on her face. Whenever you want a story, I will tell you whatever story you want. Yay, Papa. Eri cheered, but during the wait, Kaminari had spiked the punch, so when Izuku came back 30 minutes later, everyone had been drinking spiked punch, and the girls, who by the luck of God were all lightweights, were already
tipsy.
Is that your doing? Kyoka asked Truth, who shook his head. Of course not. If I would have done it, you all would have also had a terrible alcohol limit, but you can hold your drinks just fine, can you not? Truth said. In all honesty, it was sort of his doing, as he had told the god of that universe to do it, as it would be funny, which it was. Izuku catch, Nijire said as she shot up, with her quirk much like a jump right onto Izuku. His hands were on her hips and her legs were around his waist. Nijire, please watch out. You could have hurt yourself. No, cause you were. There, Nijire said as she put her head on his shoulder and began slowly grinding herself against him. But she was pulled OU by Yuyu. Nijire, that was not part of the plan. Stick to the plan, Yuyu said loudly right in front of Izuku. What plan? HH. Pervert. She screamed, having nothing else in her mind as she pulled Nijire with her toward the girls. Izuku was just confused, but after a walk, he was a little thirsty, so he went to the punch. Thankfully, Izuku could handle his alcohol much better than the girls. For the next hour, the girls went ahead and tried diurine approaches. That failed because of their own drunkenness. But then at 11:30, Nemuri had enough.
She
grabbed Izuku toward the girls as they were in a corner. What are you doing? Making this easy. She almost threw him in the girls. So Izuku, we are all in love with you and want to be in a relationship with you. We are okay if you want to date all of us. What is your answer? Really? The girls all gave confirmation. Sure, it would be my pleasure to date you all. Finally, Bakugo said loudly as the guys started taking out their wallets and paying Bakugo, Aizawa, and Present Mike. How did you know that would happen? Pixie Bob asked. I have known the nerd since we could walk, and you are as obvious as could be. We knew Nemuri, so it wasn't a hard guess. Now we can finally, thank God, come Izuku. I don't want to walk tomorrow. Rumi said as she grabbed his waistband and pulled him away, with the girls blushing but following. Bunny is in heat, Ryuko said with a laugh as Rumi blushed. Well, what did you think of that? Well, wasn't the biggest fan of the beginning, as that story was scary, but you made up for it with the Halloween party, Melissa said, with most of everyone agreeing. Next time you make a horror thing, do not use me for it, or I will float you to space, Ochako said, with Truth raising his hands defensively and giving a nod. Well, sorry, I will try and find something to make it up to you, okay? Ochako nodded and Truth began searching for a new thing to watch. This marks the end of part 14 of What If Harem Deku Watches Multiverse. A big thanks to GiovanniPolder for granting the permission to feature this amazing fanfiction. Please like the video and subscribe to Deku Universe for more interesting stories. Thank you, and see you soon.